we've just seen the Red Bull BC One World Finals in Japan, and I thought we'd jump on, give a quick reaction, talk about what I liked, what I didn't like about it, and generally make sense of what we saw. First of all, a big congrats to Rico and to Ishin for winning. I mean, the battles really delivered, and they were on point the whole night. So it was amazing to see them take the win. The event was in Japan, and Japanese breakers won the event. So that's always fun. But also the event delivered. I feel as though that it was a great event for the culture, because sometimes with these large scale events, you wonder if the essence of breaking will be there. You wonder if, it's doing hip hop a favor, if it's doing hip hop a good service. And I would say that it definitely did. The battles delivered. That battle between Jabril and Sugar Kicks, oh my god, that one was my favorite. And what I loved is that on the Thursday after the last chance cipher, the dancers got to choose who they wanted to battle. Now, when you looked at the bracket, you would think, well, a lot of the people that you thought would win the event, they're all on the same side of the bracket. But in actual fact, that's just the way that they themselves had orchestrated it. So that was a lot of fun. It made for a lot of interesting matchups. And I have to give my props to Kanfu on the ones and twos. I mean, I've known this guy for the longest of time, and it's just amazing to see him get the recognition that he really deserves. And I thought the music was on point the whole night. You have to remember, they're only using Red Bull music. They're only using music that is cleared by copyright. And it is what it is, right? We can talk all day about the music and how there should be more funk breaks, how there should be more this and that. Look, it's a Red Bull event. You're using Red Bull music, right? But there were a couple of things that happened that I wasn't particularly keen on, right? First of all, this thing with Amir in the belt, right? I'm not a fan of it, because if you're given an opportunity to break on the BC One stage, you have to take full advantage of it. You have to battle, right? And I think that was one of those moments where, you get, you drink a bit too much of your own juice. Really, that's sort of the way that I'm looking at it. I'm sure we're going to hear from Amir over the next couple of days, or maybe not, about what exactly happened there. But I feel as though that he could have made more of the opportunity if he sort of looked like he checked out a little bit. And if that's the case, then don't battle, right? Um, but to understand a bit more of his mindset, I did some interviews with him on Stance Elements, so you can go and have a listen to those, have a watch of those, just to get a bit more insight into him, right? The other thing as well, right? I didn't pay too much attention to the judging this year. In other years I paid more attention to it, but this time I didn't, because one of the things that you have to remember when you're putting together a big event like this, right? The judging's always going to come under criticism, right? It's always going to come under fire. And one thing that you have to do is you have to look at who's on the panel, right? You have to understand who they are, the generation that they come from, the way that they dance, to really get a sense of maybe how they're going to vote, right? And essentially, things played out essentially how I thought they would. And but the good thing about this is that if you're watching an event and you disagree with the judging, you have to look at who's there on the panel, because they had some really heavy hitters on the panel, people that we hadn't seen in a while. Ronnie Ruin, Cloud. I mean, Atta was there, right? And if you know a thing or two about breaking, Atta, I'm just so happy to see him up there, right? I'm just really, really happy to see him up there representing himself, because he represents the style that I would just love to see a lot more of in breaking, right? And yeah, that's the thing, right? Everybody can have their thoughts on the judging and what happened, who should have won, was there a robbery here and there? But it just helps if it's like, okay, we see this panel of judges, we know the generations that they come from, let's just enjoy it, and it is what it is, right? But I would say that as a whole, right, the event was awesome, and the battles really showed. Like there were some really good battles. Like it was a stylish lineup, right? Everybody, even from the last chance cipher that qualified for the event, I remember in the lead up and just looking at all the wild cards and thinking, oh, I see what they're trying to do here, right? Everybody in that lineup was so well rounded. I wish Supreme did a little bit more because I know that he has a lot more. But also at the same time, this is the thing about taking the opportunity on, like in Red Bull BC1, you really have to show yourself. You have to make a statement, right? The reason why guys like Cloud, for example, are well revered, especially after his time at BC1, is when he did BC1 in 2009, a lot of people thought he won in the finals, right? Even I thought so at the time that I watched it. And so he, even though he's already had a reputation in the scene, that helped to carry him forward into other opportunities. And the same with Luigi as well, right? Luigi, a lot of people thought he won in 2018 and he came second, but still that always lingers around, that always carries on with you. So even if you don't win BC1, it's still a great opportunity for you. And if you make the most of it, if you maximize your chances there, there's always something positive that will come out of it. And I don't think it really helped. I don't think it helped Amir's case, but then maybe he's thinking a certain type of way about these large scale events. I'm not so sure, right? But anyway, I'll leave it there just now. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all at least, take a little something from this. If you agree or if you disagree, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys soon.